The Endurance E-Racing World Championship Le Mans 24 Hours is brought to you by ESR Esports Network, Fleet Gaming, SimLab, Husingfeld, Simplexity, Acetech, and AMD Ryzen Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GTR 24H round of 4 and the final round of the championship. I'm still Yousuf Bin-Suhayl, still joined by Alex Skinner as we go into the final hour of the race.
We have side-by-side action though, straight away as the Seawolf Netrace car retakes second position back from the Viaducton car that they were side-by-side with as we went to the break. This is Ibrahim Khan getting his way past the Viaducton car. On the replay, as you can see, to the inside went Ibrahim Khan and just managed to get it worked. Stopped on the brakes on the outside on the ideal line. And it's made life a lot easier for himself.
And I'm just taking a look, that rain is still falling. It is 3 millimeters per hour, the same as it has been for the last 5 or so hours, I feel. And that's P2 going the way of the 47 car, but we do still think that they have one more pit stop to do, whereas Viaducton can go to the end of the race. So it might be a bit of a splash and dash for the 47 car, but it will be close, and you can be certain that Ibrahim Khan will be hunting down Viaducton in those final 30 minutes.
One thing I've noticed, the 12 DGTL car is out.
The what?
The 12 DGTL car is out of this race.
What has happened to DGTL? They were running fairly well. Well, P7 in the GTE class.
Al and the Dream Team 766 has gone off as well. Just gone off at the end of the Dunlop S's.
Because on my screen it doesn't say that DGTL are in the pits or anything, and I can't see them stopped out on circuit. Oh, okay, fine. So yeah, it hasn't popped up for me, but they have DNF'd. I guess my time thing doesn't state if they've left the session.
Interesting.
We ride on board for a second with Fabio Liozzi, who is trying his hardest to close in onto the Teleferiningen car. Remember, that gap was at 2 minutes. It's now 1 minute 44, and he's closing in by 3.5 seconds per lap, but probably be needing about 30 laps at this rate to close in, and he's only got about, well, 15 laps, to be honest, with just over an hour remaining. Well, it was an hour exactly as I said that.
And of course, the checkered flag may bring the end to the race, but it doesn't bring an end to our discussion. Hashtag GTR24PRT, that's GTR24 post-race tech. We'll have discussions after the interviews. We'll have discussions after the race, before the interviews, whilst Ewan and Cameron prepare those for us. About anything that you guys want to talk about, get involved on Twitter, hashtag GTR24HPRT.
Yeah, make sure to let us know if you want to be joining for interviews, or maybe if you just have questions you'd like Ewan and Cameron to pose to our interviewees and the drivers themselves. I'm sure they would be more than happy to bring that to you. The 777 Nightmare car is now 2 minutes behind Borja Milan.
That is insanity, considering not that long ago were they right on the rear of them. Did you see that Ibrahim has pulled again? Maybe, but Ibrahim has pulled 3.7 seconds on the team Viaducton car now.
Yeah, he did a 3:40 last time round, the fastest of anyone on circuit. 2/10 quicker than what Martin Hemmingsen was able to do. We got there in the end.
We're going to give you a rundown with the final hour to go here at the GTR 24H Le Mans 24. In the lead of the Le Mans Hypercar category is Martin Hemmingsen. He has been this team, the number 10 Bin-Suhayl Esports car, has been leading this race for pretty much 12 hours now. Second place is Ibrahim Khan in the Seawolf Net Race Motorsport, number 47, followed by the number 14 Viaducton car. This car has gotten so lucky from other people's faults after having such a horrendous start to the race.
I just told you there, the 007 Pro Sim car has had a moment, and that was through the Porsche curves, and he's got the 64 car not too far behind, so there's going to be a change in position here for P5. Sorry to cut you off there, Alex.
Where's this?
It happened in the Porsche curves.
The car seemed perfectly fine just coming into the pit lane. Following on from Team Viaducton, it is the 66 Scuderia Basilia hypercar of Thomas Hinds. That car is Thomas Hinds, Mark Fight, and David Junt. That car has had an up and down race, run as high as third and as low as last as it started at the back of the field after not qualifying. Then, following them in hypercar is the number 68 E-Team Brit car of Bradley Brockies. That car has been very up and down this race, so to say, because they've gone as high as second and as low as last as they are currently because of model disconnects, engine blow-ups, and everything else. We then move to LMP2, where your leaders are the number 17 Bin-Suhayl Esports car, currently with Jaime Tatui at the wheel. That car has been pretty up and down as well. It was leading for the majority of the start, and then it actually ended up many laps down to the leading Burst Edge Esports car, which is in second with Yannis Simicic at the wheel. That car took pole and has been flying all race, but can they get the lead with only 56 minutes to go? They're about 2 and a bit minutes back, so it would be a very tall order indeed. Following on from them is Paul Holt in the number 334 Fair Racing Team car. That car was leading during the night until an engine failure decided to take that car out of the lead. Meanwhile, I'm just seeing on the track map because I saw yellow flags flashing absolutely everywhere. See if there is a car that is stopped at all.
Not from what I can see at the moment.
Everything seems to be fine now. But then it is Guillaume Maz as he leaves his pit box. That is in the number 11 one-move car. Then it's followed by the 64 of Marco Antonio Rodriguez in the number 64 Satellite. Then it's the 007 Pro Sim car, followed by the 33 Drive Game Seat car of Alessandro Apolloni. Meanwhile, I see there is a car that's got a problem. It is in 10th place in GT3, and I'm not too sure where that car is.
32 Racing, and I'm just trying to take a look for where they are.
I think they might have made it back to the pits, but following on from Apolloni, it's the 37. Your LMP2 title leaders, Mantis Rakers at the moment on board that 37 Rookie Monsters car, followed by the teammate, the sister car, the 337. Then we move to then it's the 199 Sim Sport car at the back of the LMP2 field, and I'll give it to Yousuf to take us through the GT field.
Yeah, so leading the race is David Greco for Musto GD in that GTE class, and he's got himself a very hefty 2.5 minute gap over Michael Sedic, who has just made a pit stop. So David Greco still has a pit stop to do, but the 74 car is doing well for the Yousuf Motorsport Club. Then you've got the 51 of Jordi San Andres for WOSR iZone Performance, and he finds himself only 34 seconds behind Michael, so possibility still for some late drama. John Monroe for third place in the 15 Simply Race, and he's 4 laps down, so not really any chance of him jumping ahead in what is the final, essentially 10-11 laps of the race for the GT cars. ID Sim Sport are running in 5th ahead of Pierre B cars, who have been trying to hunt them down for quite a while but unsuccessful in doing so. Then you've got ID Sim Sport followed by DGTL, who recently had some issues, and then, well, kind of the shame of the race really, Satellite Racing and Jimmy Nisela, who were leading at one point. They are now at the back of the GTE field. Moving on to the GT3 field, Borja Milan has reclaimed the lead for 1ACA Racing. He was leading at the start, then there was an engine blowout. They dropped down the order, but they fought back absolutely fantastically. and recently passed a Nightmare due to strategy as well, mainly, but Borja Milan leads now by, well, over 2 minutes to the 777 Nightmare car. You then have Alvaro Incausti in the 23, and Alvaro having a good showing and looking for his first podium as well of the EEWC season. You then have a DIS SR Lab who were running in second for quite a while and looking like favourites really to take second and favourites to take the win after Borja Milan's engine blowout, but they had issues of their own and are now 2.5 minutes behind Alvaro Incausti, albeit gaining about 7 seconds per lap. Then you have the 404 car of Glam Racing, and it is Henry Coya at the helm, and he is, how far back is he? He is over a lap behind the DIS car. You then have the Teleforeningen car followed by Fabio Liuzzi of Mazda, who have also had issues. And if anyone remembers back to that accident towards the start of the race down into the Dunlop chicane involving the LMP2 cars, so that was primarily caused by Fabio Liuzzi still having damage to his car after having thought he had repaired it. And then you've got Team Rookie Monsters down in 32nd overall. Malcolm Smith at the helm at 3 laps behind Fabio Liuzzi, and then you've got a Danish Racing V32 Racing and the second DIS SR Lab car.
And then following on from them is the 766 Dream Team Corvette. Well, that is the rundown. With 51 minutes to go, we're expecting pit stops from the final pit stops from the LMP2s anytime within the next 10 minutes. See who is able to come in as late as possible and fill up as little as possible, because now it's a case of whoever's later in will have less to take on.
Yeah, and
drive-through penalty for car 37, drive-through penalty for car 37.
And that is your title, leading LMP2 car receiving a drive-through penalty. Oh dear.
Fortunately, though, he has 8 laps between himself and Taylor Lane, and even if it did go south, well, Taylor Lane is his teammate, so there would probably be a bit of a switch around in positions. But it does feel bad for Mantis Records because he was closing in onto Mr. Alessandro from the 33 Drive Game CRT team, and well, there's going to be practically no choice for him catching up. Either way, I think Team Rookie Monsters have the championship in the bag. ID Sim Sport are just way too far back, but going back to the LMP2 pit, they can do about 10 laps, maybe in the wet they can pull out 11 laps, so that counts as about 40 minutes maybe. So as long as they pit after 10 minutes from now, they should be able to get to the end without any issues, but anything before that, and they might need to make a splash and dash at the very end.
Yep, indeed. Mantis Records also will stay out for this lap, even the announcement of the penalty, so we'll try and probably run it as long as they can.
They might try to contest the penalty as well, and the team see if they can get it removed. However unlikely that may be, you always end up trying to get it removed.
Meanwhile, 50 minutes to go exactly until we hit the checkered flag, and we'll see our victors for this year. And I think, from what I can see, it will be a brand new winner in every class.
Yeah, it definitely does seem that way, with the exception of the GTE class, because Musto have won races previously. Also, I'm just wondering, what happened, for example, let's say in 3 laps time, if Timothée retires from the session, because technically in the remaining half an hour that would exist, it would be almost impossible for Viaductin to overtake them. Would Timothée still take the win? Just as a hypothetical.
Wait, what?
So, if Timothée retires from the session, right, but in the remaining time of the race, Viaductin weren't able to overtake them.
Well, no, because they haven't finished the race. Some plans.
Okay, fair.
Like, for a start,
even though they've done more laps than Viaductin would have done.
To finish first you must finish. It's a simple rule of...
So, technically, the smart option would be, I mean, yeah, they could, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, what gaps do we have right now? Jordi San Andres is into the pits. He's going to be falling back from Michael Sedic. That is in the GTE class. To be honest, I think... Sorry, not Michael Sedic, it's Michael Sedlacek. I think, to be honest, the GTE class order is pretty much done, I want to say, but obviously stuff can still happen, but it is looking like it will be Musto from Deuces Motorsport Club from WOSR iZone Performance. GT3, Borja Milan seems to have this in the bag. He's almost 3 minutes now ahead of Nightmare of that 777 car, and he's absolutely flying. We thought it'd be close, but, well, we have been proved wrong. Well, I've been proved wrong by Wanaka Racing here. Ooh, we may have something happening, because is the DGTL car, and it's back out on circuit, but it is being hunted down by Jimmy Nisela, who's going a fair bit quicker, and is only 15.5 seconds behind, and that would be for P8 in the GTE class. Oh, and that's a Glam Racing that is crabbing along, so I'm not quite sure what's happened here, but that is not good news for the Aston Martin.
Henrik Hoyer, what has happened, my good man?
And as usual, it's on the Mulsanne straight. Did something happen through Tete Rouge? Or maybe through the previous Mulsanne chicane, the first Mulsanne chicane. Either way, the 404 Glam Racing team, I mean, they weren't having the best of outings, but they're going to drop now. And actually, Fabio Liuzzi is right onto the back of the Teleferningen car. Remember how far back Fabio was, but he's closed the gap down. He might still have a pit stop to make, but he is well and truly on the back. And this is the battle for P6 and what will become P5 as well once they pass the crabbing 404 Glam Racing car.
There's 2 laps behind it as well, just remember. So it's going to take a while before this obviously happens, but they will get past them.
Yes, indeed they will. And remember, the Glam Racing car was leading the race at a point. And now Fabio Liuzzi hunting down the McLaren, or pardon me, the Corvette, the Callaway Corvette of Glam Racing. Oh, pardon me, not of Glam Racing. Teleferringen goes down the inside, gets the job done. The Mercedes does have a lot of straight line speed, even more than the Callaway Corvette. And down into the first of the Mulsanne chicanes. Job is done and dusted. And now, if we do just go up just that little bit, into the pits has gone Henrik Hoyer. He's pulled the plug, he's reset to the pits, which means he's going to have 3 laps added on. So Fabio Liuzzi should be able to jump ahead. Jimmy Nitzler closing in by 6 seconds a lap on DGTL. So Teleferringen drop down to P7. They will jump up to P6 soon, but Musto move up to P5, and that is good news for them after what has been a rather torrid time. Alvaro Inkowski closing in by 7 seconds, or has lost 7 seconds on that last lap to DIS SR Lab. And with 40 minutes remaining of the race, it is sure going to be difficult, because that is only 10 laps to catch up 120 seconds. He needs to gain almost 12 seconds a lap. He needs a mistake as a Teleferringen car not really getting out of the way of the Ferrari 488. And that is a Ferrari 488 of DGTL Racing as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I have updates on the ruling. If Viaducton did not cross the line, they do not win the race. You know, we were talking about Viaducton.
Oh, okay, yeah.
If Drillers didn't finish Viaducton, but yeah, no, you have to finish.
You have to finish. So you must be crossing that line. The Toyota rule.
Yes, the Toyota rule.
Okay.
Remember 2018, I think, or they died coming to the final lap.
Okay.
Oh, they died as they crossed the line onto the final lap, and they didn't get classified.
Rip. That is a big rip and a half.
Yep. So the ruling is basically you have to complete the race. So. Right.
Right, so Jimmy Nisler, whereabouts are you, my friend? Well, that's the DIS SR Lab car that is ahead of the DGTL car, and that is Jimmy Nisler in the VRS. Oh, well, actually, I should say Satellite Racing.
That was very, very sketchy as well for the Ferrari. I'm not sure which Ferrari that actually was. I sort of caught it at the end when I just finished sorting myself out. And got very, very sideways coming through the S's.
Do you think...
Oh, I've just heard that the 15 is off. He's managed to get it back going, but it's just more... It's just going from bad to worse for the Simply Race team. The championship basically being gone out of their hands, not even after, lap 1.
Yeah. Also, Jimmy Nisler's into the pits. He got close to the DGTL car, but he's had to dive in the pits. And, well, let's see if he can close back in onto DGTL after this pit stop. It is his final pit stop. Also, we are 15 laps away from breaking into 400. Do you think the number 10 car can pull it off?
Not going to happen. Oh, rain has stopped. Rain has stopped. Too late. It will not get dry enough for slick tyres.
No, I don't.
Even the
think so.
LMP2s won't risk it.
Yeah.
Because you will not get a dry enough line with the time that's left before the LMP2s come in.
That being said, we do have a fairly high track temperature of 29 degrees, so...
Doesn't matter. Track temp doesn't dry the track. Only cars running over the track do.
It helps a little bit though, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Track temp means nothing.
What if it was 100 degrees?
Still wouldn't make a difference in boil the water. Wouldn't make a difference in game. Early enough.
Ripperino.
It'd make a difference to the tyres, from what I remember.
Yeah, it would just melt. It would melt the wet tyres, the soft wet rubber on the wet. Right. What else is going on? ProSim 49 seconds behind the 64 of the Satellite Racing LMP2 car. I think we're going to get very close to 400 laps. I think we'll get like 397 or something. And well, if the rain didn't fall, I think we definitely would have got into 400s.
I don't know. I mean, what, 40 minutes? And we're on lap, what lap are we on again?
We are on lap 385.
Oh, no, we'll 100% make that work. Because hypercars, it's 40 minutes for LMP2s to do 10 laps, isn't it?
Yes.
So the extra time that's gained will be done by the hypercars doing another 5, so...
I mean, the hypercars aren't really that much quicker than the LMP2s right now. It's a few seconds a lap.
True.
I think it'll be very close. And I think this, the rain easing off. Actually, the rain's coming back down now. It's 3 millimeters per hour once again.
Even before it's a conspiracy, we end up with 397 laps completed.
I do have the script, to be honest. Right. The Nightmare car is now within a minute, 57 seconds behind Borja Milan, who has finally made his stop, but that is just a splash and dash. And he's now just going to be blitzing it to the end. DRS SR Lab still closing in by about 10 seconds a lap on Alvaro and Causti. The gap is now 2 minutes, but DIS need Alvaro to make a mistake if they want to get a podium. That's a nice song you got there.
It's just what Nick sent me.
Yeah. Nick, can you stop distracting Alex, please?
Yeah, I really shouldn't be reading like what Nick is sending us on Discord, but sometimes he actually sends us useful information. So it's a coin flip as to whether it's going to be useless information, useful information or useless tat. You know, so.
I mean, not a coin flip. That would suggest it's 50-50. It's more like rolling a dice and hoping for the number 6.
Pretty much. Or in your case, rolling a dice and hoping for the number 7.
Yeah, actually, I think that might be more appropriate. I mean, it could be one of those weird 1 to 20 dice. Or 1 to 20.
It's not exactly a weird dice. It's used literally in every Dungeons and Dragons game, and even Peter would be similar with me on that.
It's a weird dice. It's like not a normal dice. A normal dice is a 6-sided dice. So
Wait, what was that, Peter? For people with culture, it's not an unnormal dice.
technically, there is only one normal dice though, and that's a 6-sided dice.
Yeah, you
Everything
say
else
that,
is
but it
normal.
depends because it's what's culturally agreed as normal, not in terms of what's
Right,
actually.
so what is the norm? What is the more used dice, do you think? Because if it is the Dungeons and Dragons like 20-sided dice, then I will say that the 6-sided dice is the abnormal dice. Last lap, actually, ProSim closed in by 11 seconds onto the 64 satellite racing car. Fabio Liuzzi is into the pits again. And he had only just pitted after getting past the Teleferningen car. And now he's having to pit again. Did they underfuel that GT3 car? And if they did, then why aren't they pitting a bit closer to the finish time so that they can run with a slightly lower fuel load?
Well, we'll find out after our last commercial break.
The Endurance E-Racing World Championship Le Mans 24 Hours is brought to you by ESR Esports Network, Fleet Gaming, SimLab, Yousuf, Simplexity, Acetec, and AMD Ryzen Radio.
Do you like games? Do you like esports? Do you hate watching laggy streams of tournaments on 13-inch screens? Oh my god! Of course you do. But you don't have to worry about that anymore. He has a jump, son!
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40mm extruded aluminum profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40mm extruded aluminum profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final half hour here for the GTR 24H Endurance E-Racing World Championship finale here at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Yeah, half an hour, and we'll be bringing that to you live and interrupted until the very end of the race. The championships are to be decided, and your racer leader is still the number 10 car, which is thinking, or I'm sure considering, making it to that 400 lap mark. And that is, of course, Pinsim Drillers Esports of Timotej Andonovski, who has a 9-lap lead over the Viaducting car, which is being hunted down by this man here, Ibrahim Khan, who is just 23 seconds behind, and on the last lap closed in by 8 seconds.
Yeah, he's impressive indeed, and of course, remember, we've only got half an hour to go, which means that car is going to be getting very, very close to each other indeed. I do not remember if Viaducting still need to make their final stop or not. I think they may have done that when we were away or not paying attention, but if they have made their final stop, they're in a very good position indeed. If they haven't made their final stop, they're still in a very good position, because it'd be a very, very short pit stop.
Yeah, and Ibrahim Khan was ahead. Remember, he overtook Viaducting and then made his pit stop. Viaducting still haven't pitted, so we were assuming that there's one more stop, and it might just be that splash and dash. And we know that a drive-through here is about 20 or so seconds as Ibrahim Khan gets so sideways on the exit of the Ford chicane. But if a drive-through is about 20 seconds, then even adding a little bit of fuel would take at least 30 seconds. Viaducting would then be 9 seconds behind Ibrahim Khan.
I mean, it depends how much fuel you put in.
True. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. Do Viaducting even need to pit? Because right now, to be honest, it looks like Viaducting, they're just trying to go to the end, judging by their lap times. They're trying to fuel save and get that fuel all the way to the end. Otherwise, you'd expect them to be pushing and just pit and add in that fuel.
I was about to say 3 minutes 41 by Ibrahim Khan compared to a 3:48 by Team Viaducting, and that gap is coming down. But will it come down enough? The times that they're putting in at the moment say it will, but we'll just have to wait and see if Viaducting then go, we've got enough fuel, we can pick the pace up. And we finally are going to have some drama coming towards the end of this race here within the closing half an hour of this race here at the Circuit de la Sarthe.
Yeah, and the gap is already at 21.5 seconds. Do Viaducting pick up the pace, or do they just keep on fuel saving? And I think, to be honest, once you're this late in, you're kind of committed to the strategy that you have chosen. Also, we are starting to see Jerne Simonchek closing in onto...
It won't be enough.
It won't be enough, no. It's a 2-minute plus gap, but you never know what can happen with failures, accidents. 24-hour race, we've seen things happen on the last lap.
Everyone is literally cruising home now. No one's really pushing. As I say that, the Viaducting car goes wide, and that will just allow Ibrahim Khan to close up even more.
That's another 2-3 seconds lost by Viaducting, maybe feeling the pressure, trying to fuel save and just take each corner as quickly as they can, carrying out as much speed. And in the wet here at Le Mans, it is so tricky. And apparently the Viaducting car might have a bit of damage, and you can...
Simonchek might have damage apparently, although...
Yeah, he's had damage for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Or was that
anyway,
Milan?
Even with normal steering, he wouldn't have had enough pace to catch Jaime Tatui by the end of this race, regardless.
Yeah. One man who did have damage and was able to catch up was Borja Milan, and he's since been able to pull out a 60-second lead over the Nightmare car, and that's been an impressive performance from him. You can see, I think that's Borja Milan leading the GT3 class after what's been an impressive drive following disaster that really struck the Wanaka Racing team. He was leading by such a massive margin, and then he dropped really far behind, and himself and his teammates have done a fantastic job to bring that back end And it's not just him, it's every car through those four chicanes, just losing that back end, really pushing the car to its absolute limits on that traction zone.
Yep, and they're not that far ahead of the Viaducton car. That car has just come out of the final corner. We'll go across the line and we'll do a 3:48.6. That's after that mistake as well. So probably only looking at a 3:46. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, 3:46. Let's see what Ibrahim Khan does out of the final corner. Across the line, it is a invalidated lap, so I'd assume it would have been quicker by a margin because he's only down to 17 seconds of a gap now.
And it's still dropping. In fact, on my screen, it's under 15 seconds now. So he is closing by a vast rate of knots. You know, we're talking 5 seconds plus per lap. So give it 3 laps, and he's going to be on the back of the Viaducton car in 3 laps. It equates to about 9 minutes. So once we get to about 11:50 Danish time or European time, that is really when the battle will be heating up.
Yeah, exactly, or maybe even less than that, because you know, with how fast Ibra has been closing, the gap is already only down to 15.8 seconds. It's already 1.1 seconds, sorry, 1.2 seconds faster than the Viaducton car last time in this first sector, this lap. So that Viaducton car is really fuel saving right now.
Yeah, and also pit stop from our LMP2 class leader, Jaime Tatui, into the pits.
That'll be a very short fuel. I doubt they will take tyres on this stop if they, if they want that gap. And if they do, they'll be looking at trying to hold off Yerne. I think the Burst Esports car is safe on fuel.
Yeah, and is it though? Because they can only do 10 laps. That's about half an hour, and Yerne pitted a little while ago. 40 minutes. Oh yes, because of the wet conditions.
And also because it's LMP2 and the fuel tank's booked to do 40 minutes.
Okay, fair enough. 40 minutes then. This might just heat things up ever so slightly then in our LMP2 class. But I'm going to assume that Jaime has put in a lot of fuel just so he can push. He doesn't need to do any fuel saving, and he's got, a bit of extra engine power that he can use to defend from Yerne if it does come to that. But over a minute gap now between the pair of them with about 5-6 laps to go.
Well, we will see. But again, Jaime Tatui already out of the pit lane. Yerne Simicic is only coming to the Porsche curve, so irregardless of if Burst needs to pit, that car is not going to be looking at winning this race.
No, it really will not be. However, let's not forget we have a battle for P2 in the hypercar class. The gap is now 11.3 seconds. And Ibrahim Khan is absolutely flying right now. And right as I say that, Timotej Andonovski sets a new fastest lap of all of the cars in this wet condition, a 3:40.8.
Yep, and looking at that gap in the middle sector, it came down by another 2.6 seconds. That is how big that gap is coming down between coming down between Khan and the Viaducton car. Meanwhile, Ibra makes a nice lapping maneuver down the inside. Actually, I think that's the one Akko car he's just gone past. Wouldn't be surprised. I'm actually just going to do a quick check on that now, and that was actually the one Akko car of Borja Milan, to see what it is when he comes across the line. Where is the Viaducton car coming through the Ford chicane? And you look on board of Ibra, he is only just coming out of Corvette corner, so that gap is coming down rather quickly. 3:47.5 by the Viaducton car. What is Ibrahim Khan going to do? What's Khan going to do this time? Comes out of the final corner, across the line, and it is going to be a 3:42.0. 5.5 seconds. That gap's come down by. It's 11.5 seconds now.
Yeah, Ibrahim Khan are gaining so much inroads right now on the Viaducton car, but do Viaducton have a little bit more in the car to push with? Are they just being extra safe in these earlier stages of their final stint? Well, we'll have to wait and see. Viaducton will be praying that they have underestimated the amount of fuel that they have, and they could just use a little bit more so that they don't have to lift and coast as much. But well, we know Ibrahim Khan definitely pitted after Viaducton, and Viaducton did not match that pit stop. And well, Ibrahim Khan has used that to close in an entire pit stop length up to Viaducting, who have tried to fuel save all the way to the end. Just 22 minutes remaining now in the race, and there's not much time left.
Yep, 23 minutes and 20 seconds to go, and Ibrahim Khan's already actually gained 1.5 seconds in the first split alone. His target, he said, was P2, and he said that about 6 a.m. this morning after the issues arose, and well, he's definitely setting about it. You can actually probably see him any moment now from one of the rear shots from the Viaducting car on the track cameras. We'll see as that car comes out of the chicane. Yep, you can see Ibra just braking now into the chicane, so it's definitely coming down. Ibra making his way out. He is pushing that car to its limits, and we know that that car is going to be good on fuel.
And you can see him not even pushing the revs to the limit, still being a bit careful. He's getting a little bit greedy in 5th gear because Ibrahim Khan, he knows he wants to close into Viaduct and as quickly as he can. He can fuel save later, he can engine save later, but he wants to get this move done and dusted. And he's got quite a few lapped cars in between himself and the Viaduct and McLaren Senna. And it's all about catching the lap cars at just the right moment. 9 seconds now separate second and third.
Yeah, it does, and of course, Khan looking very, very solid indeed. Again, another 1.3 seconds in that middle sector. He's gaining so much time, and it's 22 minutes to go. You can already see the Viaducting car probably whenever he heads down towards the Porsche curves. You can see, what he can see right now though, is a couple of GT cars and a prototype. He's got the Deuces Motorsport Club Porsche in front and the 188, which I believe is the Teleferenigan car. And he's going to breeze past both of those on the way down to the Porsche curves. Wouldn't be surprised if that car is getting as big a boost as it can do and pushing as hard as he can. Well, he will be pushing as hard as he can. Comes into the Porsche curves and you can see the wipers going as hard as possible as he comes through. Got to try and make sure that he can close up to the back of the Viaducting car. I'm not sure which enemy two that is in front of him, but that is John Monroe, and that is actually Paul Holt in the Fair Racing Team car. They got the John Monroe in the 015 in the number 15 Simply race car. The car that car is about to lose the GT Championship. Had a good crack, but just wasn't meant to be for the Simply Race squad. What's the gap going to be across the line? 6.3. The Ibra gained 5.2 seconds once again. He is flying right now.
Yeah, he's going really fast, only a little bit slower than Timotej Andonovski. And these two are 9 laps behind. And don't forget the number 66 car as well. Scuderia Basilia currently 4th in the hypercar class. I'm also keeping a little eye out for Malcolm Smith in the GT3 class because he is gaining 4 seconds a lap on Henry Coyer. And may have a very, very slight chance of passing the Glam Racing team.
Yeah, indeed, but we are going to need to focus on this fight because you can see in front of Ibrahim Khan right now. But number 4, that is Paul Holt. And again, in the first sector, it was actually only down to 7 tenths this time because of the fact that he got stuck behind that GT traffic. But that gap is coming down hand over fist. 19 minutes and 38 seconds to go. Not many laps left here at the finale of the Endurance E-Racing World Championship. And the gap down to 5.5 seconds. We're going to have a race on our hands. It's just with how many minutes to go is the question.
And Ibrahim Khan will pass the LMP2, switches back in front. And he's just focusing now on hunting down the man ahead. And he can see the Viaducting car. He'll be getting told by his team, that's the man you're chasing. That's the man you need to pass. And you can see the spray of the Viaducting car up ahead. Viaducting, of course, not only your championship leaders, but your championship winners as well. Coming into the round, they had secured the championship last time out at Matsusaka. But I'm sure Ibrahim Khan will want that P2. Don't forget, Right now, the number 10 Bin-Suhayl Esports, they will finish second in the championship. And to be honest, regardless of where Ibrahim Khan finishes this race, the 47 Seawolf Net Race Motorsport team will be finishing third in the championship.
Yeah, it's great to see as well. But Khan, you can see him in the mirrors, or sorry, from the rear wing of the Viaducton McLaren Senna. It is so close between these guys right now. Ibra making his way through. These guys are so close. You can see them in the same camera shot. That is Khan going down the inside of the DSR Dream Team.
Or contact as well, because that's the DSR Dream Team not seeing Ibrahim Khan coming. That might be one that gets reported, but
I'd be surprised because it would probably look like the Dream Team car, I think, turned in just ever so slightly, and that would be on the Dream Team car for
that's what I'm saying. I do agree.
I don't think they'll be too bothered by that, though, because he is so much faster. 3.5 seconds now between your leaders. And this is going to get close indeed. Grab the popcorn, grab the drinks, because it is going to be one hell of a fight towards the end of this race.
It really will be, and also might have to keep an eye out for an LMP2 battle, because ProSim have dived in the pits. Mark Antonio has a pass. We're also seeing the number 11 ID Sim Sport car, or One Move Esports car, into the pits as well. So everything seems to be changing in these final few moments of the race.
Yep, exactly. And here you go, on board with the back of the Viaducton car. We'll actually go back on board with Ibrahim Khan, and we'll look for the frontal camera. Here we go, on board. You see the wipers flash, the wipers going, and that is the Viaducton car homing into view. Target set, target in his sights, and well, he's got the guns out, and he's going to try and go in and take that pilot down in that McLaren Senna.
Yeah, and I just think Viaducton have picked up the pace ever so slightly. They seem to be going a little bit quicker. Ibrahim Khan only gaining 2 seconds on that last lap, but that was partly due to the traffic that Ibrahim Khan encountered heading down into Indianapolis and Arnage. And this time, there doesn't seem to be any real traffic this lap, so this is just going to be a push lap for Ibrahim Khan, and let's see how much he can close in onto the Viaducton car.
It is so close, and it's going to be extremely interesting. We'll see who can make it work. Now looking trackside from the nearest to the Viaducton car, they got GT traffic in front. That will be the DGTR car. So great to see those guys still running in the number 12. But you can see in the same camera shot just how close Khan is in that number 47 Seawolf Net Race Motorsports car. 15 minutes to go. It's under 5 laps actually at this point.
And he's going to catch the GT car right into the chicane, not where he wants to catch the GT car at all. He'll sweep around the outside on the exit. 2 seconds now separating Viaducton and Ibrahim Khan in the battle for P2 in the Senna Hypercar class.
It's going to be extremely close indeed. Again, we're looking more at 3 laps to go here. And between these two drivers, it is going to be extremely close. On your screen is Ibrahim Khan, and you can see the Viaducton car not that far up the road. And not that far up the road either is one of the LMP2 cars. That is looking at the 007 ProSim car. So that is the car that is currently in 6th in class. But that is not going to be a problem. They will be dispatched relatively quickly.
Into Indianapolis we go. Ibrahim Khan still closing in. He can see Viaducton, he can see the spray, he can taste the spray from the Viaducton McLaren Senna. And he's just going to be biding his time now. He's just going to be waiting. He knows he has about 3 laps to make the move work. Viaducton, well, it seems that they have picked up the pace ever so slightly, and it seems that they have just enough fuel in the tank to at least put up a defense from Ibrahim Khan and that 47 Seawolf Net Race Motorsport car.
1.6 seconds gained this lap so far by the Seawolf Net Race driver. And you can see each single camera shot how much closer he is in that McLaren Senna on board. Once again, you can physically see how close he is now, and he gains with every corner. That is down to about half a second now between the two as we come towards the 4 chicanes. What will it be across the line is the question we have to ask. He is right on the bumper of the Viaduct and McLaren Senna. This will be the move.
And Viaduct has run wide.
They have indeed. They're side by side. It's literally Le Mans 2018, and Ibrahim Khan, with 13 minutes to go in this race, will take second place from Viaduct's clutches.
And Viaduct just got a little bit too aggressive into the 4 chicanes. They ran wide, they clouted the curb, and Ibrahim Khan says, thank you very much. Job done. Viaduct can't even put up a fight, and now Ibrahim Khan can just drive off into the distance. Just has to keep it clean, and P2 is his.
And he will pull away now, and the track will become calm once again. Of course, unless someone else gets close to another driver, but that doesn't seem to be a case. So, game, set, and match. Ibrahim Khan.
Alvaro Ancausti in the 23 car right now is actually really struggling, because last time round he lost 17 seconds to DIS, and sure, the gap is big. The gap is what, 1 minute 14 seconds, but that is a big chunk of time that Alvaro Ancausti is losing in that green McLaren that we can now see on our screens.
Well, I'd assume that he made a spin or something similar. Doubt is going to be too big a problem. The 45 DIS SR lab car only gaining in sector 1. It was a 112-second first sector for the 23 car, so that explains what's going on there. A lot of spinning, I believe. And then in the second sector, it's about 3-second difference in favour of the DIS SR car. I don't think it's going to be enough though, because with only limited, like 3 or so laps left, I don't see those two being able to get close enough.
Well, you can see Alvaro Ancausti really struggling. This man has been, well, the main driver for the 23 car. I don't know how many hours he has done. Okay, so Alvaro Ancausti at 5 minute 28, so he pitted at the end of the last lap, and I mean, sure, DIS are definitely closing in, but it's not just straight up 17 seconds. It's probably more like 10 seconds a lap. So Alvaro Ancausti should hold on to this, and I think this man has done well over 12 hours of driving.
That would be interesting to see though. But again, he has really put his foot down, and it's great to see all these guys making it to the end. Not that many retirements actually. I think only a couple of official retirements from this race. I think 3 official retirements. I think we have 40 official entries into this round of the championship.
45, I think it was.
Was that excluding all of the official cars that we have to have in the serve, including the pace car, timing car?
Yeah, I think it was about 43 to 45, yeah.
Well, it's still impressive to have only lost such a few amount of cars over the 24 hours. 10 minutes remaining for your race leader, Timotej Andonovski. When he comes across the line, it will be under 10 minutes to go, so we're looking at 9 minutes. We're looking at maybe we're looking at 2 laps, about that. 3 laps at maximum. Was it 3:42, 6, 7? Yeah, we'll be looking at 3 laps to go this time for your race leader, Timotej Andonovski, in the number 10 PinSim Drillers Esports car, looking to take home their first victory here at the GTR 24H Series at Le Mans. It'd be great for them, a debut win.
There are 2 more battles happening out on circuit, or 2 more battles that could amount to something. One is the man that I am looking at on my screen, which is Malcolm Smith. He's 15.5 seconds behind Henrik Hoyer, but gaining by almost 4 seconds a lap, so it's cutting it close, but it is possible. The other is between the 64 of Satellite Racing and the 007 of ProSim. Less than 8 seconds separating them, and almost 2 seconds a lap is the gains that ProSim are making.
Well, this is what we have to see coming to the final towards the final 5 minutes of this race. Only 3 minutes 50 seconds left before we hit the final 5 minutes here at the Le Mans circuit. And again, your leader being Timothej Adminovsky. The only fight I really see potentially breaking out is the fight between the Pro Sim 007 and Marco Antonio Rodriguez, sorry. Because that is about 9 seconds, but that gap is coming down. Even if it's by a few tenths a lap, it could happen if that car has to slow right down because of fuel. We will see what happens, but in terms of everything else, it looks pretty solidly sorted.
And there you can see your LMP2 class classifications. Remember, it will be Mantis Records and Team Rookie Monsters. While they're not in the podium, they will be securing the LMP2 championship as things stand. And to be honest, ID SimSport are so far behind that, to be honest, I think really pretty much anything can happen and Team Rookie Monsters hold on to the title. But let's not tempt a fate. Let's tempt Malcolm Smith, who is now 14 seconds behind Henry Coyer. 3.4 seconds was the amount that he found last time round as he makes his way now down in towards the Mulsanne hairpin. And he's still gaining the gap now, 13.5 seconds.
Yep, indeed, and of course, 7.5 minutes left of this race. That's about 2 laps to go if you came across the line now, but Timothej is only just coming through the Mulsanne hairpin, so it'll still be 2 laps to go, of course, but it'll be very nice to see the race end. I think for most of these drivers, especially having driven for so long, they just want to get to the end and make sure that they claim the points and the prizes that they have come after so long.
Well, there are some drivers that definitely won't want to be seeing the checker flag, one of which is this man here, Malcolm Smith, and probably another one is the 007 and Pro Sim car driver who is closing in onto Marco Antonio slowly but surely. And maybe the same actually could be said for Jonas Simonic. Sorry, yeah. Oh, because right now Yone is closing in, but it is not by a lot, it is not by enough, and we'll see whether that gap can drop down even more. Burst Edge Esports closing in on Jaime Tatui, but they are 28 seconds behind, and 1 more hour might have been all they needed to come back after the disaster that did strike them, that engine failure where they dropped so far down. They've made a fantastic comeback drive, but it just sadly is not going to be enough. And the number 17 Pinson Strillers Esports car, they're going to get 2 separate class wins here, it seems.
Yeah, indeed. As the Pinsim car is in. Interesting. 5 minutes to go. That car is into the pit lane.
Is that the McLaren Senna or the LMP2? Okay, McLaren Senna. So, last splash and dash, go for a couple of quick laps, have some fun. To be honest, they could even have a little spin and still keep on going. Malcolm Smith still riding on board with him. 9.8 seconds right now behind Henry Coyer. Gained 8.5 seconds on that last lap. He can do it. He can definitely do it and gain 1 extra position in the battle for P7 in the GT3 class.
Yep, in comes Timothej Andonovsky. Parking it at the end of the pit lane. I think he's having a car wash before he finishes this. To
be honest, like, that is a smart thing to do. Just stop, wait for 24 hours, and then go out and do your final lap.
I mean, yeah, they have got a 9-lap lead, so he might as well wait to only have to do this final lap. I mean, he's got to wait a minute. He's got to wait exactly 1 minute.
That is so smart, but it is also so BM.
Not really. I mean, even in real life, you see the cars slow right down so they don't have to do any more laps.
True.
But of course, the question begs, where is Jaime Tatui? Okay, he's coming out of Arnage.
And,
is this a potential plan for something that we're not aware of?
What do you mean?
Is this something we're not aware of and not trying to spoil Peter? Meanwhile, looking further down, the Viaducton car has already lost 7.5 seconds to Ibrahim Khan.
I see. So Pin Sims
But of course, only 3 minutes and 50 seconds. But of course, and that is actually Timotej Andonovski leaving the pit lane. So Ibrahim Khan comes out of Mulsanne corner.
Malcolm Smith at 9.3 seconds behind Henrik Hoyer. Prosim now within 6 seconds of Marco Antonio and is closing in and might actually have the possibility of looking for that P5 spot in the LMP2 class. Timotej Andonovski back out of the pits.
So this will be the final lap for your Le Mans hypercar leader here with 3 minutes exactly to go. And the last, obviously, the main hypercar laps being 3 minute 44s. There's no way he'll get round another lap after this one. He's keeping well off the line. I think he is waiting up. Not too sure, but he seems to be going. It seems to be going right slowly. We've got a lot of interviews lined up after this race as well. Credit to Ewan O'Leary and Cameron Roger. So it'll be great to see those guys at the end of this race getting very, very much caught up in the action. It'll be good to see.
Also, Yone's just come into the pits for Burst Edge Esports, so that battle for the LMP2 lead is pretty much done and dusted. Now a minute separating your two LMP2 leaders. And Malcolm Smith has not really been able to close in on to Henrik Hoyer. It's gained by a couple of seconds this lap, but it's just not going to be enough. We'll only have one more lap after this current one.
Down into 2 minutes remaining of this race here at the GTR 24H finale. GTR 24H finale here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. A great finale, a great ending to what has been an incredible season of racing here in the Endurance E-Racing World Championship. Great to see so many cars here, great to see so many teams here and so many drivers of different, of different backgrounds, calibers and even experience levels. And that is actually one of the DSR cars, DISSR cars off the track as well, waiting to be lapped by your race leader. But as he will come down towards Indianapolis, the clock will tick down to 1 minute and 10 remaining.
We're just trying to see, because Prosim, they're really closing in onto Marc Antonio, and we might have a bit of a battle on our hands. The gap is just 3.5 seconds right now. And you can pretty much see both of them on your shot, both on the Mulsanne straight. It's going to be a big, big ask.
It's going to be a big ask indeed, and it won't happen. I don't see that car getting close in the time they've got. They've got less than a lap to close. But with 35 seconds left on the clock, you can see that the GT cars don't really want to go past the race leader. They don't want to do another lap here. And look in the background, you can see the number 17 LMP2. Well, we tried to elude it, we tried to avoid it, but I think people knew what was coming anyway. The clock will tick to 10 seconds and it will count down towards 0. And it will be an amazing formation finish between the two PinSims Drillers Esports cars. The DSR Daydream car just sat there holding the 2 leaders up. They don't want to go past the GT3 Corvette. They want this beautiful picturesque shot of the 2 cars. As the clock hits 0, the race checkered flag will come out. And for your leading cars in LMP2 and LM Hypercar, it will be the PinSim Drillers Esports cars of Timotej Andonovski and Jaime Tatui to take victory.
An absolutely fantastic result coming through from PinSim's Drillers Esports. The claps are out, but the 24-hour race is not over just yet, because we still have a battle going on in the LMP2 class 1.5 seconds right now separating Marco Antonio and the Pro Sim driver as they make their way down now into Indianapolis. Just over half a lap remaining. There is still a slight chance, a slim one, but a chance nonetheless for Pro Sim. They can smell the engine fumes right now from Marco Antonio's number 64 satellite racing car.
Yeah, this is for P5 in LMP2. They've got traffic ahead, but that is only the team Viaductum LM hypercar, so it's going to be a straight fight to the finish. I don't think they can do it. I don't think they're close enough, because that 64 satellite racing car has been so consistent these final few laps. They've been doing enough, but the car is so close coming through the Porsche curves. It is going to be so close. Is there a gap to go by?
Has to be in the 40 games. The nose to tail.
It's going to be so close. Who will get the inside? Who will get the outside? The satellite racing car goes defensive. It's going to be last at the lane. Breakers
They're
and
side by
side to the Porsche gates, and it's going to be so close. There's contact between the two. Out of the final corner, it's going to be Satellite who takes 5th place.
What a final couple of chicanes to come through. It might be something for race control to look at, but what a way for the two LMP2 cars to complete their race.
And David Greco across the line to take victory for Musto and victory in the title in GTE.
Musto take the title in GTE. Borja Milan will take the winner in the GT3 car for
He's
the
still on his final lap
Racing.
as well, for a funny fact. Borja Milan still yet to cross the line to complete this race today. He's on his way down to the second of the Mulzard chicanes. The team will have said the race is over. The team will have said you've won the race, because he is a lap ahead of the second, or a minute and such, ahead of the second place DSR Nightmare car. The
What was that
777.
corner cut that just came through right there from your racer leader in the GT3 class, completely cutting across the Mulsanne chicane?
I mean, we have to give our hands, though, to the DSR team. They put up a valiant fight, but it just was not enough today. Second place for the 777 Callaway Corvette. Callaway on the podium for the first time in GT3. And it's good. And now we'll go back to your GT3 leader, Borja Milan. Actually, he has finished the race. As I said back, you can see the leaders in front of him. But what a race for Borja Milan. They have come back from being 6 laps down through before the midway stage of this race. An extremely deserving victory for the team.
What a fantastic end to the 24-hour race right at the end of Pro Sim and Marco Antonio with that battle that went right down to the wire. And that was door-to-door, wheel-to-wheel racing. It was definitely some robust defending, as we're seeing your racer leader doing some donuts, doing some 360. Timothej Andonovski is certainly happy, and he's got his teammate right behind him as well, trying to follow in the old sliding celebrations.
We'll follow up with the rest of the results. So your race winner in LM Hypercar, Timothej Andonovski, in the number 10 Drillers, Pinsim Drillers Esports car. Second place, the number 47 of Ibrahim Khan. They did get that second place and will be extremely happy with that in the Seawolf Net Race number 47. Third is the number 4 Team Viaductum car. Your championship victors coming home on the podium, something they definitely can't be too upset about. And fourth place in Le Mans Hypercar will be the number 66 Thomas Hinz, bringing the car home. A valiant drive by the Australian to bring that car home. Only a lap back from the Viaductum car, so a great drive to bring that car back. That is the Scuderia Basilia car, followed then by Bradley Brockies. They managed to bring it home in 5th place. The number 68 E-Team Brick car, what could have been for that team. LMP2, of course, Jaime Tatui for Pinsim Drillers Esports. The number 17 will bring that car home in the lead. Second place, Burst Edge Esports. What could have been for that team as well, if not for the disconnect? Would they have won? Would they have ended up second? Who knows? Then third place, the 334, the Fair Racing team. Paul Holt bringing that car home on the podium. Congrats to those guys, a very well-deserved podium. Then it was followed by Guillaume Maz, the One Move team, and I will calculate, we need to calculate the points on that as well, because I'm not too sure where they are finishing the title because of it.
Yeah, we will have to check. Both Pinsim cars are dropping the donut right behind our commentary box. And, well, other thing, a worthy celebration of two fantastic drives from both the Pinsim teams. 1-2, and their rear ends collide, and I think the rest of the field, they want to get involved in this as well. You can see it over my shoulder there. They're having some fun. But I think on that note, we're going to be heading into a commercial break, and when we are back, I think it'll be Ewan O'Leary and Cameron Roger who will be taking you guys through the rest of the standings and with your driver interviews. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to keep on staying tuned for the remainder of the show.
Yeah, thank you guys ever so much.